Hello, my name is Aidan Parks, and today we'll be taking a look at the concept of identity in relationship to Indigenous culture. I'll be using quotes from powerful Indigenous figures such as Oodgeroo and Noonuccal to illustrate the importance of the term identity in regard to Indigenous culture. Identity. What is it? To us it may mean personality, how others perceive us, or even how we perceive ourselves. But something that goes without saying is our identity is who we are, and for hundreds of years a group of people have been marginalised for just that. The Australian Human Rights Commission explains in their racial discrimination article that Indigenous people have experienced unfair treatment because of who they are, and in doing so has created a systematic barrier that has locked them out of social and economic opportunity in regard to politics and employment. Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander identity has so much more meaning attached to it. It means preserving their sacred languages, art, religion, and knowledge of our country, because after all, they have a deeper understanding of Australia than anyone else as the oldest human civilization. There are organisations committed to the conservancy of Aboriginal identity and safeguarding Indigenous rights, such as NTAR and the Closing the Gap campaign, and even festivals such as NAIDOC Week, but despite this, Australia is still split. A perfect embodiment of what is needed is represented by Australia's very own Cathy Freeman. After winning the 100 metre and 200 metre sprint, she celebrates by putting the Australian and Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander flag around her and embraces both flags. This emphasises the idea that we don't necessarily have to merge our idea of identity, but rather accept others for who they are, which is something that must become a part of our national identity. Oodgeroo Noonuccal's I Am Proud is a seamless representation of white Australia's view on Indigenous identity. I am black of skin amongst whites, and I am proud. Proud of race and proud of skin. I am broken and poor, dressed in rags from white man's back, but do not think I am ashamed. And we were massacred. Spears could not contend against guns, and we were massacred. But there are things that they could not plunder and destroy. We were conquered but never subservient. We were compelled but never servile. Do not think I cringe as white men do to whites. I am proud, though humble and poor, without a home, so was Christ.
The meaning behind this poem is, while white Australians have inflicted many hardships on Indigenous Australians, including the forced Western civilization way of life, Oodgeroo shows that Aboriginal identity is undying and cannot be forced upon and replaced with a foreign way of living. She also represents the idea that the Western way of living is not perfect either, as she states, "Do not think I cringe as white men do to whites." By this we can conclude that this lifestyle is seen as too competitive and capitalistic, while Oodgeroo grew up with the notion of working together and respect for one another. British colonials thought of Indigenous populations as animalistic and uncivilized, without even understanding the culture concreted into Aboriginal society for thousands of years, and throughout this period of time had also been extremely successful. Even though as years have gone on and the lack of Indigenous and the violence and disadvantage has decreased, it is still clearly present in various ways, including the lack of Indigenous presence in our political system. Another point that Oodgeroo makes in her poem quite often is the fact that she is poor, with lines such as, "I am broken and poor." But realistically, she's only poor in a Western sense. She makes clear that wealth is not important within her culture, and that wealth doesn't mean having money, nice clothes, or property. She also states, "I am not ashamed" in her poem, as the concepts of lifestyle are not a part of who she is, and she has no reason to live in a way that has been pushed upon her and every other Aboriginal in Australia. She ends the poem very intelligently. Western civilization was built off the religion of Christianity, and many who follow have a deep love for Christ. She explains that Jesus was also very poor, wore damaged clothes and did not own a home, which is something of the main goals of a Western civilization, showing that white Australians continue to pay no mind to or promote Aboriginal identity, even though it has similarities to that of Christ.
So this brings us back to identity. It's who we are, and no one deserves to be disprivileged or disadvantaged for being themselves. Yet it's been occurring in our country for hundreds of years and still in the present day. Children of Aboriginal descent are growing up in a world in which they have no idea who they are and where they fit in, all because of the colour of their skin. Everyone has their own unique identity, and for us as pre-service teachers, it's our job to accept every student for who they are, no matter their colour or beliefs, because it's amazing that everyone is different. And when someone feels comfortable to be themselves, the world becomes a better place. Thank you.